On my trip to Canada, I was denied boarding, separated from my wife, and lost my luggage. All in one trip. On the 7th of March, my wife and I booked a trip to Canada and the US. 48 days to departure. My wife holds a Singaporean passport, so she only had to do a simple e-visa exemption for both Canada and the US. Because I'm Indonesian, I had to apply visa for both countries. She got her visa in 15 minutes, while I was spending 3 hours writing my life story in my visa applications. Like seriously, they were asking me where I've been the past 5 years. 21 days to departure, I collected my American visa. 13 days to departure. I started worrying about my Canadian visa, so I sent inquiries to get in touch with the Canadian Embassy. While they were not as responsive, on their website, they stated that the average processing time to be 32 days. Counting from my application date, I should have at least 43 days between my application and my departure. So, I rested easy for a while. 7 days to departure. Still no visa. I needed to do something, so I went to the Canadian Embassy in person. Security didn't let me in, and they did not have a walk-in service. But they sympathized with my desperation. I was like, please, I applied for a visa in March, and my flight is next week. Eventually, a lady from immigration came out to address me. She explained that, no surprise, my application was still reviewing. And she clarified that the 32 days average processing time was only counting working days. Then she said, I can try sending another email to ask if I can collect my visa directly from the embassy when it's ready. I did that as soon as I got back. Miraculously, I got a reply on the same day, but it did not give me any concrete answer. Just a note that due to COVID, it might be delayed. Part of me still clung to the possibility that I can get my visa in time. 5 days to departure. Still no visa. Reality is setting in, and I knew I had to move on. Technically, the 32nd working day would have been tomorrow, the Thursday, 28th of April. But I will cut it real close, so nah. Also, I received another reply from the embassy, saying that my application might be delayed due to the war in Ukraine. So yeah, if you put it that way, holiday visa versus war refugees seeking asylum, I guess I really don't have a strong case. On top of that, it's the last day to be able to refund at least 50% of our bookings in Canada. And that's how we cut all our hopes for Canada. Then comes our next mistake. To minimize our loss, instead of fully forfeiting our flight itinerary, we bought a patching flight to transit into US through Canada. Means we'll fly into Vancouver as per original plan, but connect it with a separate flight into Los Angeles. I checked that I was eligible for the transit without visa program, allowing me to transit in Canada without having to apply for a visa. However, I had some issue finding out which airlines were applicable, but I couldn't open the URL to check, so I brushed it off, assuming most airlines should be doing it. Finally, our day of departure. We reached the airport at 4 AM for our 6:10 flight. Got into the queue to check in our ANA flight. When it was finally our turn, my wife received her boarding pass for our flight into Vancouver, then checked in her luggage. We were surprised when the counter staff gave us the luggage tag that says Narita, Vancouver, Los Angeles. When I asked her about it, she said, "Oh yeah, you guys don't have to check in your bags again in Vancouver." And we took her word for it. If you think that's too good to be true for a patching flight, keep watching. Now, she told us to wait for a bit because she is still clearing my boarding pass. We wait and we wait and we wait. At about 5:40, she said, "I'm sorry sir, we are not able to clear you for boarding because you are lacking the visa to transit in Vancouver." I was like, no. You see, I'm Indonesian, I have a US visa, and I have a connecting flight. I will show you on my phone I'm eligible. But then, oh boy, how I was so wrong. Remember the list of valid airline operators that I could not open? Yeah, so I flashed out my phone, smugly clicked the link in front of her, and then poof, the list of airlines came up, and ANA is not in the list. Phew. I know, all these efforts just to miss this detail and denied boarding. Clock is ticking, so I looked at my wife and said, "Dear, go on and catch this flight. I will find another one and we'll meet back in Los Angeles." We hugged goodbye and she ran for her 6:10 flight without me. There were not many flight options available that day. If I were to meet my wife in time in Los Angeles, I will have to bear some costs. The pain is adding up. I was still mid-air when my wife touched down at Vancouver for transit. That was when the next trouble brewed. She didn't have her transit flight boarding pass because it was bought as a separate itinerary, and there wasn't any AA check-in counter in Singapore either. When she asked the airport staff where she could reach AA for her boarding pass, she was told to use the airport landline phone. Well, nobody picked up, but when she tried to leave, they stopped her, saying that she couldn't. After 40 minutes of trying, I reminded her that she actually does have a visa to exit transit into Canada. With 2 hours left, she managed to exit and got to the AA counter for her boarding pass. At the counter, she asked the AA staff, "Will my luggage be sent all the way to LA?" The staff just shrugged, saying, Yeah, it should be loaded, departing to LA. By this time, she was almost too late to board, so she just took the staff's word for it. Meanwhile, I reached LAX 4 hours earlier than my wife. While waiting for her, I was just counting my losses. Now that I definitely can't transit in Canada, we would have to forfeit the return flight too. No way I'm leaving her to fly alone again. I was also cursing Canada for taking so long to process my visa. But who was I kidding? It was totally my fault for booking without a confirmed visa. But the visa application was asking for flight itinerary. What should I have done? Finally, I was reunited with my wife at the AA baggage carousel. Her luggage, however, was not there to reunite with us. When I reported our lost luggage, the clerk said that our luggage was last scanned in Vancouver. However, they assured that 95% of delayed luggages are returned within 24 hours. They will even deliver it right to your doorstep. The problem is, we plan to leave in the wee morning tomorrow for our road trip. Now that we had to wait for our luggage to be returned, means we'll have to push back our plans by 1 day. So we just made it into an LA day trip. 20 hours later, I called the luggage office. "Hello, just want to check what's the status of my luggage." "Hi, yes sir, your luggage is in Vancouver." So it wasn't even on the way. I was upset. I trusted them. I was so hopeful that things would finally be normal after the past 40 hours of horse shit. But no, she's not over yet. Do we wait for another day? Mess up all our road trip and our subsequent bookings? Or forfeit our luggage, losing all our stuff in it? Couldn't take any more of it. Felt so guilty about how I was so foolish to prevent all of these preventable mistakes. If I had checked my transit visa properly, this wouldn't have happened. If I had applied for a visa earlier, this wouldn't have happened. If I waited for a visa confirmation before booking a flight, this wouldn't have happened. Felt so small, so stupid, so worthless. If it wasn't for my wife who said, "Dear, it's okay. This pain, we'll go through it together. I'm just glad we still have each other." If she had not said that, I might not have had the resolve to forgive myself. Yeah, so rather than continue being stressed about it, we forfeited our luggage and went out of our merry way. received a call from the lost luggage office. "Hi sir, we have your luggage here in LAX." I was like, yeah, that's good. Well, you see, I'm in Arizona. Yeah, but anyway, it was welcoming news. Finally, some good news. I asked them to send the luggage to an airport as ahead of our road trip.
We got our luggage back!
Finally!
Oh, it's a huge
So,
relief.
phew,
It's been a more
we got our stuff
pretty
back. Subscribe and like the video. Thank you for watching.